morning, guys. It is day 8 of 21-day alternative fasting. That is 1 week down. I'm pretty excited about that. How do I feel today? Feel pretty good. I think my body's adapting to this. I mean, I'm not, the days that I am fasting, I'm not really hungry, or I'm not as hungry as much. What else? Don't really got much going on today. Just driving. That's pretty much it. Driving and editing. Yeah, let's get. Man. All right, let's get way in. $177.6. I was weighing at 179 yesterday, so that's about a 2-pound decrease. So same thing as usual, break my fast with a keto tea. I'm gonna go drive and then I'll be back and talk to you guys. All right, see ya.
What's going on, you guys? I am back and I want to talk a little bit about insulin. So what is insulin? Insulin is a hormone that your pancreas secretes every time you pretty much consume something. So what happens when you eat? So every time you eat, let's say you eat like a bowl of cereal or a bagel, your blood sugar is going to spike, and every time that spikes, guess what? Your pancreas releases insulin. And in doing so, it combats the sugar. If you have too much sugar in your bloodstream, you can die. That's no bueno. So that's what insulin does. It stores that excess sugar as fat, so essentially your blood sugars can normalize again. The thing is, there's two terms. There is insulin resistance and insulin sensitivity. I'm gonna start off with insulin sensitivity. Insulin sensitivity is essentially you're sensitive to insulin, which means, let's say you eat, that same thing, a bowl of cereal or a bagel. Your blood sugar spikes, and your pancreas only secretes a little bit, and that's it, to control your blood sugar. And that's it. I mean, and usually people that are insulin sensitive, they are normally, thin. Those people that they can eat whatever and they don't, store that much body fat. Well, it's because they're insulin sensitive. The people that are insulin resistant, now that's when you start having trouble. So you eat a bowl of cereal, a bagel, whatever you have for breakfast, boom, blood sugar goes up. And your pancreas is squeezed a lot more than it would with the person with insulin sensitivity. In doing so, you store a lot more fat. But the thing is, with insulin resistant people, or with insulin, is that when you eat carbs or sugars, that's when danger can come in. So you keep eating all this carbs and sugars your whole life. Guess what? Every time you eat, the more your pancreas secretes insulin. So eventually, you're gonna get to a point, or, I mean, God forbid, that happens, but like, it can get to a point where you are secreting so much insulin that your pancreas will eventually shut down. And when that happens, that's when you have type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is like your pancreas shuts down. We don't want to deal with the sugar anymore. Figure it out. So essentially, if you don't have insulin, you can die. That's why people with type 2 diabetes, they always have that insulin shot, because they don't have that insulin. They're not producing that insulin to combat that sugar. The thing with fat and the ketogenic diet is that it won't impact your blood sugars as much as it would with carbs. So this is like your carbs that you're eating, sugars. It's gonna have a steep increase. That's when you have those those energy boosts. Boom, it goes straight up, and then guess what? It's coming right back down. That's when you have those midday crashes. With fat, this is what it does: slow increase, and it's sustained until 4 hours on end. Usually with carbs, like maybe 2 or 3 hours at max. Then you have to, guess what, eat again, and that's how people gain weight, because they're looking for a fuel source, which is primarily carbs, and they just eat and eat and eat, and guess what? They just keep putting on that weight. There is also another type of diabetes, which is type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is they're pretty much born with it. Most of the cases they're born with it, where they don't produce insulin. So I mean, from birth they're given a needle, or I don't know how they take it, but they have to be taking insulin. And there have been cases where the ketogenic diet has helped people with type 1 and type 2 diabetes. With type 1 diabetes, they have a certain amount that they have to take, every time they eat. I don't know how they measure. I'm sure they have some meter where it tests their blood glucose, how much there is, and then that's how much insulin they have to take. Well, when they have the ketogenic diet, guess what? The high fat in this diet doesn't spike their blood sugar, so they don't need that much insulin, or the demand for insulin is not as much. Same thing with type 2 diabetes. Since you're not really secreting enough insulin to combat your blood sugars, I want to say it would help, reverse it, but it can have a severe impact on how much insulin you're taking daily. But yeah, guys, that is what insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance is in a nutshell. With insulin sensitivity, you just need a little squeeze from your pancreas, and boom, you're pretty much your blood sugars are regulated. Insulin resistance, you're gonna need, those people are squeezing out a lot more insulin, they're storing more body fat, and it could potentially lead to type 2 diabetes if they don't be careful. So hopefully that was a better understanding of insulin. I will make a video after this challenge about just strictly on insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance, or in general just insulin, and get a lot more in depth in that, and actually back it up with research, and put the references in the bottom. Now I am about to call it a night, but a quick recap. This morning I wasn't really hungry. I think my body is adapting to it pretty well. I mean, I was a little hungry, but not as much as when I first started. But I do want to point out that when I was eating this morning, when I ate breakfast, I normally have my bacon, my couple strips of bacon, my bowl of guacamole, and eggs. I have 4 eggs, and I can normally finish it like pretty easily. And I noticed that halfway through my eggs, and I didn't even touch the guacamole yet, I was already getting full. The thing is, when you intermittent fast, or you're doing fasting, your body will adapt. Especially you're doing it for a long time, your body will adapt. And doing this, your body recognizes, hey, I'm not eating as much, so why does my stomach have to be this big, however it was? So guess what it starts doing? It starts to shrink. So then that's how people consume less calories, and it's a very effective way to lose weight, is intermittent fasting. So your stomach eventually will shrink. You're not taking as much calories, and the times that you are not eating, guess what? You are burning your own body fat for fuel. So yeah, that's what I noticed today. I'm not really consuming as much calories as I was. I did eat quite a bit though. After I finished working out, I worked up an appetite, so I was pretty hungry. I still got full, like coming towards the end of my meal. Normally I would have eaten that like nothing, but I was getting full towards the end of my meal. Another thing, I did not test my ketones. I'm sorry about that. I did run out of ketone strips, and I'm currently waiting for my new ones to come in, so I really apologize about that. And as soon as they come in, I'm gonna test my stuff. Tomorrow will be a fasted state, so Just stick around for that. I have nothing else to say right now. I think that pretty much covers everything. And with that being said, I am gonna brush my teeth and hit the hay, hit the bed. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Good night, and thanks.